recording now. Yeah, my screen.
Kate, just before you start, can you also hit the live transcript button?
Yeah. Oh, wrong Kate, sorry.
Oh, sorry.
Always a couple of us around. Enable auto transcription.
Yep.
Yep. Okay, so as I said, this is our all about PACE session for employability and graduate success for our careers and employability week. Just wanted to start by letting you all know that we are recording this session, and unless you're a presenter, we appreciate it if you stay on mute for the session. Happy to take questions in chat. I've got a team of PACE and employability officers online with us today to be able to answer any queries that you have. We'll, if we don't manage to get to all the questions today, we will do a wrap up at the end, send you through some frequently asked questions to make sure all your queries resolved. So we will have time in the second half of the presentation to be able to do a little bit of questions directly, and might answer some verbally as well as in the chat. Just to ask everybody to please not talk over others and just wait until allocated time for questions. That would be fantastic. So we'll start with our acknowledgement of country. We acknowledge the traditional owners of Macquarie University land, the Wallumattagal clan of the Darug Nation, and we pay respect to elders and knowledge holders who continue to share their wisdom and knowledge, nurturing and sustaining our environments, cultures, and education. I'll go back to our, so I'd like to start off just doing a bit of explanation of what PACE is for those students who are new and may not be all that familiar with PACE at the moment. Hopefully you have a bit of an idea, but we'll just go over that for you. We've got our panel of 4 past Macquarie PACE students who are going to talk about their experience and how it has contributed to where they are in their career at the moment. We'll talk about the resources that are available for students on Employability Connect and the ways that you can find out more about PACE and how to get the most out of your PACE experience. So what is PACE? PACE is Macquarie University's flagship work integrated learning program. So this embeds, there's a unit embedded in every single undergraduate degree, and you're required to complete a PACE unit as part of your course. And it's essential to your employability journey and a successful transition into work. So these units are designed to help you gain some skills or work on skills, gain networks, and then to be able to transition those new skills into future careers. The PACE units, there's two components of a PACE unit. There's the WIL experience, the work integrated learning experience, and the academic coursework. So you actually do a placement alongside the coursework, and those two things together to give you the most value out of that actual placement that you are undertaking. So as I said, it's designed to enhance your employability skills, promote reflective practice so that you get the most out of the experience, and it gives you a valuable opportunity to develop career and leadership skills, improve your job prospects, and make a difference to your career path But also it's important to our partner organisations. So we have a lot of corporate organisations and not-for-profits who value the work that you contribute to those organisations. So PACE is built around being mutually beneficial, so for the students and the partner organisations. For some who impress an industry partner, there's offers of employment afterwards. So it's a good opportunity to get to know an organisation, for them to get to know you, and sort of have that step ahead when they're going through recruitment. And that's a big thing that a lot of our organisations are contacting us about, especially at the moment. Their recruitment pipelines are not as strong as what they have been in the past. There's a lot of organisations that are really keen to diversify who they are putting jobs out to at the moment. And so that is a really core area where we're having partners come to us at the moment and asking for our support. So the benefits of PACE, you get to developing discipline-specific knowledge and skills and abilities. So PACE is designed to be tied to your course and what you're studying to support and really develop those skills. Getting professional experience and knowledge, developing your ability to work as a team member and giving some really core experiences that you can talk about in a job interview or on a CV that really talks about that work environment and how you work as a team member in those environments. A lot of our activities allow you to sharpen your analytical and problem-solving skills and develop awareness of ethical principles and issues. And depending on what type of activity you're doing, one of our other core things is around environmental sustainability and social issues. So a lot of our activities will have a basis around those things. And as I said, you can explore career networks and clarify possible career goals, give you an opportunity to try something new and explore options for your future. So instead, today we have 4 PACE alumni who have joined us today to talk about their experience with of PACE and how that has contributed to them at the moment. So we've got Michael Precious, Kate Bittnell, Cara Fry, and Richard Huang. And I'll hand over to my colleagues who will help with the to run that panel.
Thanks, Kate. I'd just like to welcome Michael, Kate, Cara and Richard. Thank you so much for making the time to come along and talk to our future students who are coming into PACE. The first thing I'd like to do is just ask you to tell us a little bit about yourselves, just a brief introduction. If you could just let us know what degree you studied, the PACE unit you did, and when you graduated, and also who you're employed with, that would be fantastic. If I could start with you, Kate.
Yeah, so hi everyone. Firstly, I'd just like to thank the Macquarie PACE faculty for the opportunity to speak today. As Anne mentioned, my name is Kate Bittnell. I come to you from Guringai land, which is now the northern beaches of Sydney, and I'd like to acknowledge the elders past, present, emerging. So I graduated from Macquarie University midway through 2021 with a Bachelor of Law and a Bachelor of Environmental Science majoring in Environmental Management. So on account of that double degree, I actually undertook 2 separate PACE units, one for Environmental Management, which I believe has a unit code or had a unit code of ENVS 363. And the other one was for the law component, which was Laws 5051, which was an individual placement. So I currently work as a paralegal for the Environmental Defenders Office. We are the largest environmental legal centre in the Australia Pacific with a specific focus on public interest environmental law. And it is also the organisation I chose to undertake as part of my law's PACE at the start of last year.
Awesome, thank you, Kate. I might ask you, Michael, if you could tell us a little bit about your degree and your PACE unit and when you graduated.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me, everyone. So I'm Michael. I graduated in 2020 with a Bachelor of Security Studies. The PACE program I did was Ethical Practice and Security Studies, which I think was picked 30/20 at the time. I don't know what it is now. Following graduation, I went straight into a role at KPMG as a tech risk and cyber consultant. And now I'm a senior consultant at Assurance Lab, which is a tech startup. So that's me. Thanks for having me.
Fantastic, thank you. And I will now ask Cara the same questions.
Hi, so my name is Cara Fry. I completed a Bachelor of Environment in 2019. I did my PACE unit in 2018 out at Broken Hill, which was fantastic. Following that, I went on to do a Master of Research, which I just finished up in January this year, and have just started a role at the Environment Protection Authority down in Victoria. So I'm coming to you from Wurundjeri land today, which is my new home. And this is a really great organisation delivering environmental initiatives across the state and reducing harm from pollution and waste.
Wow, fantastic. Thanks so much, Cara. And Richard, last but not least, could you tell us a little bit about your degree and your PACE?
Hey everyone. So I completed my degree in the Bachelor of Engineering Honours in Mechanical. I'm still yet to graduate, but I'm waiting for that hopefully this semester. I completed my PACE unit in semester 2, 2021. I think it was called Eng 4099, and did that in Spark Psycho, which I'm currently employed in. Currently working in Brisbane, so I'm here in Brisbane, and yeah, we're kind of the leaders in STEAM solutions and everything, I guess, STEAM related, Spark Psychos looks into. And yeah, thanks for having me.
Yes, Richard, are you able to tell us a little bit more about your PACE activity that you're working on at the moment?
Yeah, so back in PACE, pretty much they had me working around the office. I had times in the office, in the warehouse, and site visits as well. Being a STEAM company, a lot of our customers are food, beverage, healthcare, pharmaceuticals. So a lot of our customers are very versatile, but everyone kind of has the same goal in achieving net zero. So a lot of our work kind of just deals with like customers on site. In the office, we were kind of looking at basically reporting, environmental reporting, and just comparing our yearly targets. In the warehouse, it was more hands-on, which was kind of more suitable for me as an engineer. We were just building parts that we were sending out to customers and kind of fixing whatever comes in. So it was a lot more hands-on, a lot more tools. And site visits was extremely fun because you get to actually meet the customers and see what kind of work, what your work impacts on them and how they're kind of utilizing our solutions. So yeah, it's really cool.
Awesome. I'm glad you're enjoying it.
Great.
Michael, your PACE activity, cybersecurity, what did they let you do?
Yeah, so we worked with Alpha 6 Consulting, which I think they're still around, because then the guy that headed it was a former ASIO agent, and he went on to be CEO of Crime Stoppers International. So I'm not sure where they fit now, but they're an intelligence agency. So we worked with them to research the use of social media by extremists. And we looked at Singapore, Philippines, and Australia. And my key interest area is white supremacists in Australia, which when I tell people now I work in cybersecurity, I tell people I studied white supremacists. I think everyone's kind of like, I have no idea what you would do with that. Yeah, it was really, really interesting.
Wow, fantastic. Cara, can you tell us a little bit about what you did on your PACE activity?
Yeah, so my PACE activity was called the Broken Hill Household Dust Study, and this involved myself and 4 other students conducting a study out in Broken Hill that looked at lead in house dust and garden soil. So Broken Hill is in far western New South Wales. It's got a rich history of mining and also a rich history of contamination. So we partnered with the Broken Hill EPA and then 2 citizen science programs at Macquarie University, which were Veggie Safe and Dust Safe. So this involved a week of field collection where we really got to connect with the community, which was fantastic. We got picked up a lot on local media. So we were on ABC, both in print and online and radio, and also the local papers picked up the story. So we did on-site sample analysis and then also brought samples back to the lab. So I learned about using X-ray fluorescent spectrometry, which is basically handheld X-ray analyses, which is a great skill that I still use to this day. And we made individual reports for each participant. So they learnt about contamination in their home environment and then also how that related to contamination across the community. And then we also produced a report for the Broken Hill EPA to help inform their decision-making processes moving forward. Earlier this year as well, great news, that work was published in the Journal of Environmental Pollution. So it's been great to, I guess, see along with my academic journey, see that piece of work sort of do a full circle.
Wow, so much.
It was good fun.
Yeah, that's amazing. What a great activity. Kate, I'd love to hear more about what you did on your PACE activity too, please.
Yeah, so as I mentioned, I actually completed two separate and very different PACE units. So for environmental management, I participated in a sort of discrete group-based research task. So over 13 weeks, I worked with 5 other students to analyse the environmental and waste implications of local councils' planning frameworks. So as part of this analysis, we partnered with an organisation called the Southern Sydney Region of Councils, which is an association of 11 local Sydney councils that essentially band together and pool knowledge and resources. So they were able to take our findings and develop a set of regional priorities and advocate and influence planning and infrastructure initiatives of state government, so agencies like the EPA and the Department of Environment and Industry. And then for the laws, I elected to source my own individual placement at the Environmental Defender's Office, as I mentioned. So I worked under the supervision of a senior solicitor, conducted legal research, assisted in the preparation of court documents, drafting letters and legal advices, and participating in law reform work as well. So yeah, I really liked the fact that I got an opportunity to explore these different sort of career paths, one heavily based in the government sector and the other working with the community in legal practice. So it provided insight into the different pathways and ultimately helped me form the decision of which pathway I wanted to take.
Wow, that's awesome. Sue, I think you've got some questions.
I do. They are amazing experiences that you've all had through PACE. So I've got a few questions to ask each of the panelists, and I'll start with Richard, actually. Richard, what did you enjoy most about your PACE experience? In particular, any highlights or skills that you learnt along the way?
Honestly, I just really enjoyed seeing, I guess, what I've been studying throughout uni in the working environment. I think 4 years in a degree, kind of just, focused in the textbook and online. It's kind of really rewarding seeing all that knowledge in real life and seeing it all in a room, in a meeting, in solutions. One thing I really enjoyed would have to be the site visits that I went on. They're company paid, so you kind of just rock up. You learn heaps because everyone that goes has dense knowledge, and everyone you meet is really nice. And yeah, we were kind of visiting customers. We went to Nestle, Fletcher's, a couple abattoirs, which was a bit gnarly, but apart from that, it was a real eye opener, and yeah, it's just really good. Like something I'll never forget, I'd say.
That's great, Richard. Any particular skills that you think you might have developed?
Well, I definitely learned how to talk. I'll tell you that. Before now, I don't think I'd be able to comfortably talk in front of 92 participants. I was always the one that was really quiet in class and kind of just, never want to ask questions. But now, ever since I'm in the working life, I feel like questions are always what you kind of want to do. Like you always want to ask questions, you always want to talk whenever you can. And yeah, I think that's something I'm kind of learning. I'm still learning, but grateful that I've taken away from.
And how do you think it helped you to get a job or enhance your employability prospects? Clearly you're working now, but how do you think that experience led to your employability?
Well, yeah, PACE is kind of, I guess for me, it was like a safety net. It was a thing for me to, I guess, work as well as study. So I guess for a lot of people now, I think when you're in uni, you're kind of juggling work and study, but maybe they're not in the same fields. PACE kind of just merges them both together, and then you can just have that in your resume. It's kind of like a good safety net where you can't really do anything wrong, but you're still learning as you go. And I think, a lot of the things you kind of learn on the way in PACE is really hands-on, and it kind of just another way of learning. So I think that's what really helped me in my employability as well.
Thanks, Richard. It certainly lets you test your knowledge in the workplace. Michael, I'll ask you some question too. What did you enjoy most about your PACE experience, the highlights and skills that you might have gained?
Yeah, I think collaboration was the key for me, and it was the first time actually in my degree I was working in a group project or collaborating with other students, especially coming out of when I did my PACE was late 2020, so we had just come out of lockdown, hadn't really been to campus for 6 or 7 months. So it was that opportunity to come together and start learning together again. But collaborating with the client as well, with the PACE partner, and understanding, where research fits into the real world and where you can actually really make an impact into the work that they're doing. So those were the key things I learned.
That's great. How do you think the PACE experience has helped you in terms of your employment once you graduated?
Yeah, so going into it, I'd already secured the grad role with KPMG, but I think the key was it was a good transition from academic work to industry work. And when I say collaborating with the client, especially going into KPMG, understanding that, okay, here's everything we've received, we've done the research, but the output needs to be easily understood. It needs to be easily digestible and broken down. It can't just be, a 20,000 word essay. So that was the key thing, I think, coming out of it, was that learning how to navigate the different expectations of different parties.
Great, thanks, Michael. I'll go to Cara next. Cara, tell us a bit about what you enjoyed about your PACE experience, skills, highlights, and how it helped you perhaps to get to be more employable, I suppose.
Yeah, well, other than going to Broken Hill and meeting a great group of friends who I'm still close with, that's such a win from the experience. But my PACE experience introduced me to the world of citizen science, which is now my career. So citizen science is the public participation and collaboration in scientific research with the aim to increase knowledge. It's all about keeping science simple, actively trying to improve your communication pathways, so just like Richard and Michael touched on. And I really found that after studying quite a broad degree, I studied environmental management, and I loved being able to delve into lots of different topics. But this was really the moment that I realized that this was an area that I wanted to pursue long term. So following that encouraged me to do a Master's of Research, where I still use citizen science. I engaged beekeepers across Sydney and got them involved in sampling and analysis of their bees for different pollutants that are common in urban areas, and then has now led me to EPA Victoria, where I'm a citizen science officer. So now I get to look at a broad range of concerns across all aspects of the environment and deliver programs for people to get involved with right across the state. So yeah, I think my PACE experience just really set me on that trajectory.
Sounds like an amazing journey. Thanks for that. And Kate, lastly, what did you enjoy about your PACE experience, highlight skills, and how it may have helped you enhance your job prospects?
Yeah, sure. So, the work I did for the EDO as a volunteer was amazing. Last year, I worked closely with a managing lawyer who had carriage of 2 really significant matters in the Land and Environment Court and Court of Appeal. And you learn about these cases at uni and these precedents, but seeing it play out firsthand and being part of that experience, it was just, it was incredible, really. And for the Land and Environment Court matter, I actually co-authored a case note, which has just been published in the Australian Environmental Review. And I would never have had that opportunity had I not volunteered with the organisation. So that was really, really good to see the work of my colleagues recognised as well. In terms of skill, you're essentially applying the theory that you learn at university and challenging into that practical work. So there are industry-specific skills that you pick up, but I think just really that exposure to the professional environment is so important and really crucial for a smooth transition from university into full-time work. You really get an understanding of what the employers expect and the standard of your written and verbal communication as well. And I think also, if you think back to your university, you're also gaining an appreciation of your studies and an assurance that it is where you want to be. So like thinking now about my employability, just the skills that I've picked up in both those PACE units, it's really led me to my most recent roles one being with the EDO, and then previous to that, I actually worked for a regional organisation of councils, which was a really similar organisation to the one that I partnered with in my environmental management course. So yeah, I mean, they were obviously the things that led me to securing those roles, and I think it's really what gives you the edge over a lot of other applicants. So yeah, really enjoyed my time in both those units.
Thanks so much, Kate, and thanks everyone just for sharing your highlights of your PACE experience. It's really clear to me, and probably to the audience, the clear linkage between your PACE experience, the skills you've developed, and how they can translate into the workplace. So really valuable information that you've passed on there. The next questions I'll pose to each of you as well. This time I will actually ask Kate for you to start off. If you had to find your own PACE activity, what advice would you give to students about how to approach an organisation in a professional manner?
Yeah, so I'd like to just speak from my experience. So I approached a non-for-profit, and they were so incredibly warm and welcoming. Obviously, these sorts of organisations really rely on volunteer work and graduates, but in return, they offer really hands-on experience. So I think in terms of approaching them, really showcasing your passion and really honing in on why you want to work for that organisation is super important. Obviously, personalising each application then is crucial as well. I think what's more sort of challenging is finding that organisation that you want to work for. So I'd really encourage students to research what they're passionate about, what organisations and corporations seem to be most prevalent in that area and really align with your values. So then it's just a matter of reaching out to a HR contact or general inquiry line. Also, the Careers Hub was really useful for me, and the one that Macquarie University monitor, and the faculty updates as well that are received via email. These organisations are looking for volunteers, so you know that they're going to be open and willing to accept. It's just a matter of taking time in your written application.
Thanks, Kate. That was really great. I'll go to you, Cara, next. If you could just, tell us a bit about how to find your own PACE activity, what advice you would give to students in approaching organisations in a professional way.
Yeah, so for my PACE activity, it was already planned. So part of the environmental management project is they do have sort of a list of projects that you can sign on for. And there's a few projects where you could, if you had really something that you wanted to do, you could bring that into the unit as well. So I think in terms of that, thinking about where do you want to be after your degree? What's an organisation that you'd love to work for, or don't know much about and want to know more. And then in terms of reaching out, I think make a personal connection. I know we don't always like to do the phone, call them or send them a nice email about who you are, what PACE involves, and how willing you are to be a part of the team. I think, yeah, as Kate said, people usually are looking for help. They're really friendly. The worst they can say is no. So just reach out and give it a go.
Thanks so much for that, Cara. Michael, coming to you. If you had to find your own PACE activity, tell us what advice you would give to students about going about that in terms of approaching organisations.
Yeah, I think it comes down to how you present yourself when you are approaching. And I think especially when it comes to PACE, this is a learning opportunity, and it's a chance to kind of broaden your horizons and find opportunities where you can learn and test things out. So coming up as that you want to learn and show that you are willing to learn, and not that you're just on the hunt for a job, I think is a good one. And definitely don't undersell yourself. Anything you can, anytime you can bring to a partner will help them in what they're trying to achieve, and you can make an immediate impact in what you're doing. So don't come in and be like, oh, I'm sorry to bother you. I know you're busy, things like that. If you present yourself and show that you have the right attitude and that you're willing to learn, you can definitely provide an impact to that company.
That's great advice. Thank you for that. And lastly, Richard, tell us a bit about how you found your own PACE activity and what advice you would give to students in approaching organisations.
Yeah, I actually went through the route of like job search. So I was looking for basically roles that were offering graduate roles for penultimate students as I was coming near to my, I guess, last year of uni. So I was just applying for anything that was engineering related in the penultimate year. And then I happened to stumble across Spark Soccer, which kind of aligned with everything I was after. But I think one tip that I would have would just be if you ever get a rejection letter or anything, an email back, always ask for feedback. The worst thing they can do is just not reply to you. But I've had some emails come back and just say, look, you know, we're out of, we're like right now we don't have any space, maybe apply within this period, and then you kind of just apply then. So feedback's always good, doesn't matter who it's from, but yeah, I think asking for feedback is something I'd definitely recommend.
Thanks so much, Richard. I've just tried to make notes as I've asked questions, and it's really clear that in terms of either finding your own PACE activity or in terms of skill building through a PACE activity, that willingness to learn, being proactive, doing a lot of research on the types of organisations that interest you or you could potentially volunteer at. I'm sure I know that there was a lot more said, I couldn't write it all down, but you know, all those things will help you, you know, to focus on what organisations might be best for you, or unless you're doing an industry project, making the most of, you know, working on that project with an industry partner. So I'll hand it back to you, Ange.
Thanks, Sue. Yep, they were great answers. So it's all so interesting. But let's imagine, Kate, that you're back at uni and you're just coming into your third year and you're looking at your PACE unit. What do you wish you'd known at that point that you do know now and that you could share with our students?
Yeah, I mean, I just really can't understate the value of practical work experience, really getting into it as soon as your study plan allows. It just offers this most amazing low risk environment to explore your career options, find out what you're interested in, what you're not interested in, how to work in a professional environment and develop a good sense of self-understanding. I think that's just having that set up for you early on is so crucial. And I think at the time I did appreciate it, but looking back, it just really meant everything for me in my career. I think also just depending on the circumstances of the PACE, I'd really encourage students to get in early, to talk to their supervisor and take a genuine interest in their career paths as well, and any advice they have for the industry. Just really be a sponge, because a mentor in the field that you want to pursue is so useful and can really set a blueprint of where you want to go and how to get there. So yeah, just be a sponge, get involved, it's everything really.
Awesome. Thanks so much, Kate. Cara, what about you? You're just starting third year. What would your advice be to a student?
Oh yeah, if I was back there, and I was fortunate enough in my time sort of following PACE to supervise 5 different other groups through technical support, some going back out to Broken Hill and others doing work based in Sydney. And the advice that I gave to all of them was to milk this opportunity for what it is worth. This is such a good opportunity to engage with a potential employer, at least get a really great reference. It's to have a mentor in the industry. It's to give you an endless list of practical skills that will really carry you on from there. And I think it's really easy to think that PACE is just a box that you have to tick. Oh yeah, that's another unit I have to do. But shift that mentality and just think of this as an opportunity to catapult your career. Where do you want to be? What's something new that you want to learn, and try and get a PACE project that really fits that and sets you up nicely.
Awesome, thanks. And it's so great that having been a PACE student that you're now taking on PACE students. So thanks so much for that. It's awesome. We love that. Richard, what about you? Do you have any words of wisdom for those students just looking at Eng 4099, which can seem a little bit daunting at times?
Yeah, I think for me, it would just be, don't be afraid to ask questions. If you're ever unsure of anything, just ask. Because I guess for me, when I was going into PACE, I pretty much had the same questions as some of these people in the chat right now, where they were unsure of when they should take it, you know, what units to take. But I guess end of the day, Myra has helped me a lot, and my unit coordinator. They know, I guess, the most out of the PACE unit. So, you know, just ask questions. Don't be afraid to ask.
Fantastic. And Michael, finally from you, do you have any final words of wisdom that you'd like to share with our students?
Yeah, mine may, if there's any academics in the room, they may question this, but mine would be, this is the one subject where you don't stress about the mark, because I know the amount of times that we stressed about making sure that the mark was as high as it could possibly be. But the priority is working with the partner and building a network, building out those soft skills and building out the communication skills, public speaking skills, building out your network as well. This is your opportunity to get into the industry, and if they don't have a role, they may know someone who has a role. I know people in my team, on the final presentation day, our partner actually brought along a few other companies they worked with, and one of the people from my team ended up getting a job with that other partner. So yeah, as Cara said, milk the opportunity. This is your chance to learn, to challenge yourself, and just dive head in.
Awesome. Thank you so much thank you so much, Michael, Richard, Cara, and Kate. Really appreciate your time and sharing all of those amazing experiences with us. I'll hand back to Kate, our Kate.
Thanks, Ange. Yeah, thanks very much to the panelists. It was really insightful, and I really appreciated hearing some of our core messages that we try to share with our students around Richard speaking about building confidence and the ability to present and be happy enough to have these kind of, present to 90 odd people in a presentation. And diving straight in, Michael, and having a go and getting the most out of the experience, including those networks and connections that you're making. And Cara spoke about the same sort of thing, milking it for all it's worth, taking advantage of the opportunities. And Kate, we just spoke about low risk, because that's one of the things we talk about in, sometimes we have students that have concerns or think placement doesn't go as well for them as what we'd like. And we do talk about this being a low risk environment, that, this is your opportunity to potentially make mistakes and to get that feedback and really develop knowledge from that. So thank you so much for all those messages. I can see in the chat, there's a lot of people sort of asking about how they find out information about their particular PACE unit. And you'll see from PACE, depending on the actual unit that you enroll in, there's quite a bit of difference in how, there can be quite a bit of difference in how that unit actually operates. So just to sort of address some of those queries, first thing you need to do is identify which is your PACE unit. So that can be done through the handbook or your study plan. And for most students, it will be one particular PACE unit is your PACE unit. This year, we've just added the word PACE into the name of the unit. So you should be able to identify fairly easy from your study plan, which is your PACE unit. And once you have identified which is your PACE unit, the way to find out the best information about how that unit runs in particular, and any pre-work or anything you need to do, is to look at Employability Connect. So I have shared the link in the chat. I will show you, I'll just give you a quick, sorry, I'll just go back and find that page. I'll just screen share just to give everybody a bit of a tour of Employability Connect. So the landing page for PACE. So just a bit of an introduction to Employability Connect. If this is our platform where we now have all careers resources, all PACE resources in one spot, and our Macquarie University Student Employment Service, where we have jobs, paid roles advertised for students. So if you're looking for all things employability at Macquarie University, this is your one-stop shop. And so on here, we have a page to find the information about your unit. Let's find your PACE unit. And through here, we have a list of all the PACE units. So once you've identified which one is your correct PACE unit, and as I said, in most cases, it'll be one unit in your course that is clearly labelled as PACE. If you're doing a Bachelor of Arts or a Bachelor of Commerce, there'll probably be an option set, and so it might be a little bit more tricky to identify. But we do have, for Bachelor of Arts students, a list of which PACE units are available to me, and if you click on that, that gives you an explanation of which PACE unit you do for your particular major. And so then for everybody else, I think there's a few questions about psychology on there at the moment. So we've got a link here to the psychology homepage, which then explains how many hours your placement is, whether you can find your own activity or whether one is found for you. This one you get a choice. and what the process is to propose an activity back to us. So that's the best spot if you are if you want to know information about what your unit entails. So I think there's a few people asking if they have to do some preparation and find their own activity. If you head on to here, that'll give you all the information that you need. So generally, you'll be completing your PACE unit in the final year of your course. And it is important that you have a look to see when your unit runs, because there are some PACE units that only run in session 1 and not session 2, and vice versa. So just it's a good idea if you're in second year to identify now when you're going to fit your PACE unit into your schedule so that you can make that work for you. And I think there's a few students on there at the moment that are currently on PACE activities and looking for support. So if you reach out to the PACE faculty team or your unit convener, they'll be able to offer you support. But if you're confused about something on your activity, then also reach out to your supervisor. I know that that might seem a little bit daunting, but they are the supervisors that are looking after you are keen to get the most out of your experience for you and for them. So do reach out to your partners that you're working with to ask them questions if you've been given those contact details. If not, reach into the unit convener or into the faculty PACE teams, and we'll do our best to support you. So in terms of other resources, so we are just in the process of also launching Facebook for careers and careers and employability at Macquarie University. So we've got, so just to let you know that the careers team could also help if you're looking for finding an activity, finding your own placement, and you'd like some support on CVs and or how to approach partners. There's careers support available there, a whole heap of resources for you to go through and tips on how to improve your CV and how to approach partners. And also an Employability Connect is a section there to share your story. So we really value hearing from our students and how they're going on placement and have what worked for them, what didn't work for them. So we've got a share your story spot there as well. And as I said, we've just launched our Employability Connect Facebook group to connect everybody and be able to share resources through there. We're working our way up to TikTok at some point here as well. So I might just hand over to Justine, who is from our careers. She's one of our career development consultants. And so she can tell us about how you really convert your PACE experience into something that's valuable for your career.
Thanks, Kate. And this is essentially just going to be a summary, because the students who've spoken to you today have already given you some amazing insight and have already covered a lot of the main points. I think, as you can hear from their stories, it's a really great opportunity to get involved, because it does give you the opportunity to show an employer that you can do the job, that you fit in, that you're prepared to give things a go. I mean, ultimately, very few jobs these days are actually advertised. So it can be a really good way to give you an into an organisation. You can organise a PACE activity with them. They can get to know you, and that way, if a job comes up in the future, they're more likely to consider you rather than, you know, trying to advertise and find someone who they don't know. So keep in mind it is a really good opportunity for you to showcase what you've got to employers. And I really like what Kate was saying before. It's an opportunity for you to really try things. Some people, well, a lot of people actually, they finish their degree and they're still not 100% sure what they want to do. So your PACE activity gives you an opportunity to get a bit more insight into a job. It doesn't always it's not always exactly the same as what the job advert says. So you can actually really try it. It's also a good opportunity if you're not sure about something to give it a go and cross it off your list. So before you get into a whole lot of debt or want to buy a car and you've taken a job that you're not sure is really for you, you've had a chance to trial it on a PACE activity and decide that beforehand. So lots and lots of benefits here. Kate, can you change to the next slide, please? basically what happens that if you look at a job ad these days, employers are actually looking for skills. They'll say, we're looking for a team-focused individual with strong communication skills, and ability to think critically, things like that. That's a really strong focus on what they're looking for when they employ someone. So your PACE activity gives you a great opportunity to try these skills, demonstrate these skills, and get examples that then you can put in your resume or interview when you're talking to an employer, to show them that you've got examples of how you've done this. And that's a really good opportunity for you to stand out in a crowd amongst other applicants. There's also a new program called a skills development program, and that runs each session. You can find that part of Employability Connect. So it can give you a framework and help you do a quick analysis of your skills that you currently have and look at the areas you want to further develop. And I would suggest opportunity to develop the skills that you think you're weakest in, because that'll make you a stronger candidate in the end. Okay, Kate, can I have the next slide, please? Thank you. Sorry, I'm losing my voice. So just as these students have given you a whole lot of tips, you can see here there's a huge lot of tips that previous students have given as well. But basically, the key thing I would say to you, if you're on a
I'm excited to hear the key thing there, but I think Justine's internet just dropped out on this.
Hosts often say to us, they get as much out of the activity as you do.
Kate, would you like me to?
Okay,
so building on what Justine was talking about, maybe Justine might be able to connect in a moment. But basically, employers are looking for students to enhance their skills. When you're undertaking your PACE activity or trying to find that PACE activity, employers want students to be flexible. They want them to show initiative. I'm not going to read out all these things, but basically to have a positive mindset, be curious, show interest in the organisation and the actual role that you're going to be performing. Make sure that you, as I think Michael perhaps and other panellists mentioned, build your connections, your networks within that organisation. Again, you never know where this is going to lead to in terms of your PACE experience. It can open up doors for you. But also, particularly for students who might be doing a double degree and perhaps not quite sure, as an example, what direction they want to head in, doing a PACE activity can really help, cement what direction to head in. Obviously double degrees can also complement each other. So perhaps you could have two PACE experiences, particularly the ones that are embedded in the degree. But there are also internships that you might like to consider. Also, getting feedback from your host supervisor as well is really important, because they can help you set your learning objectives, help you to really define what you'd like to get out of the placement or the industry project that you're working on as well. So actually, Kate, I'll get you to move to the next slide if that's okay. Justine, I don't know if you're back.
I've turned my video off, so can you hear me better now?
Yes. Yes.
Okay, cool. I'm sorry, I'm flooding here, but that's okay. The presentation goes on. So you also get confidence, like everyone said, amazing practical experience. You get the opportunity to network. Look, I can't sell that opportunity enough. It really is an opportunity to get to know someone who can create job opportunities for you or be a referee for you. And it's not just the person who you report to or you work with on your PACE activity, because everybody you have come in contact with have friends and all sorts of other people who they can then recommend you to as well, so that your network will grow really quickly. And, a lot of students do get jobs out of their PACE activity, but don't focus on that. focus on getting the best opportunity to develop your skills and get a referee, because the referee will be really, really valuable when you go for jobs in the future. Next slide, please, Kate. So basically, when you've finished your PACE activity, you really need to sell it. Employers love it. They love that you've got real work experience. You need to tell them about it. So you need to make sure it goes into your resume, and you need to put it as a separate section. Treat it like a paid employment opportunity. Give it its own section and write the skills you developed and the contributions and achievements that you got throughout your PACE activity. Don't be afraid to use those examples when you're doing selection criteria or cover letters, or in particular your interviews as well. And make sure you put all this information in your LinkedIn profile as well. And definitely network and maintain those contacts that you've gained through your activity. Thanks, Kate.
All right, so we'll just wrap up. As I said, there's Employability Connect is our main source of information for all things employability and PACE at Macquarie University. We do have email addresses there for each of the faculty team, for each faculty. So if you want to reach out to the PACE team, there's the appropriate email addresses there to contact us at. And we do have the website, but Employability Connect is really your best spot to go to. So the Career and Employment Service at the university offers, I think mentioned it earlier, around CV reviews, workshops, we do employer presentations. And if you're actually looking for a job now that you may be able to use as your PACE experience, we've got the MQSE, Macquarie University Student Employment Service, where organisations come to us to promote jobs specifically looking for Macquarie students. So there's a good spot to have a look there. A few extra events on this week for Careers and Employability Week, but you might have seen that when you were looking into the session. And just because I know that there's a few questions that are left behind still that may not have been addressed yet, we've got a copy of them all. So we will do a FAQs and address the queries back to the group. And as I said, if you want to email us to, a few of the faculty email addresses have been posted in the chat, so reach out to us at those addresses. And just a big plug for the careers fair that's coming up if anybody is interested in that. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us today. I hope that you've gained a bit of extra information about how PACE will work. And as I said, we will get back to you with answers to your questions that you might have remaining. Thank you very much to our panelists for coming and speaking about their experiences and helping our students learn about what might be ahead of them. So thank you for that.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Coming.